Have you ever felt a knot in your stomach the moment you said yes? That quiet "I don't want to, but I will" that slips out, burying your own need under someone else's ease. This isn't just being nice. This is a silent, exhausting architecture built to keep the world from ever seeing you hesitate. Let's explore what it truly costs to live inside the echo of that endless yes. To the outside world, the life of someone who cannot say no looks remarkably peaceful. It appears as a series of simple favors, a helpful hand, a reputation for reliability. But inside, it feels like a constant, subtle alarm tightening in the chest. A flicker of fear so routine it becomes background noise. I once watched a friend in a cafe face this exact moment. Her phone buzzed with a request she lacked the time or energy for. As she looked at the screen, she whispered that haunting line, "I don't want to, but I will." This is the psychology of that sentence, why the body begs for a no, while the voice offers a yes. We often mistake this inability for a simple lack of assertiveness. In truth, it's a sophisticated survival mechanism, forged in the quiet moments of childhood. It begins when a child learns that approval equals safety, and that disapproval feels like emotional coldness. They grow up believing their worth is strictly tied to being useful, accommodating, easy. In these environments, being agreeable was the only way to keep the world steady. This creates a core belief: affection is conditional. Be cooperative, be seen, be difficult, risk distance. As adults, the brain replays this pattern not to hold them back, but to protect them from a fear that once felt very real. They aren't just being nice. They are maintaining the only emotional climate they know how to navigate. People who struggle to say no are often gifted with high empathy. They are emotionally intelligent, sensing shifts in tone or heaviness in a voice before anyone else. But this empathy becomes a burden when directed only outward. Their minds constantly scan for connection and harmony, vividly imagining the turbulence of a refusal, the disappointment, the confusion. Even if these consequences aren't real, the psychological imprint from their past screams that they are. This creates a silent obligation. They feel responsible for the emotional climate of every room, acting as a buffer between people, sacrificing their comfort to ensure everyone else remains at ease. Every yes is a way of keeping a peace they believe they are solely responsible for. When your worth is tied to being agreeable, saying no feels like rejecting your own identity. You'll fear that by refusing, you become less valuable. This creates a profound loneliness as you begin to live two lives. The external life, where you appear kind, helpful, and dependable, and the inner life, where you feel quietly drained and disconnected. Eventually, you lose touch with your own preferences. If asked what you want, you might not know, not because you lack desires, but because you've pushed them so far down, they've become distant. You live a life shaped more by obligation than by intention. There is an unspoken contract. I will be easy, I will be agreeable, and I will carry things quietly. But relationships built on this silence are unsustainable. They attract those who expect endless availability and create profound imbalance. You become the one who always shows up, while your own needs are never voiced. The cost is a slow erosion of the self, not a dramatic event, but a shoreline pulled back grain by grain through hundreds of moments where you ignored your limits. It manifests as burnout that rest cannot fix, quiet resentment often directed inward, and a feeling of being invisible in your own life, because you never let others see your boundaries. Learning to say no is not about becoming harsh. It is about clarity. It is the realization that protecting your energy is not selfish shit, is a requirement for emotional survival. The first no after a lifetime of agreement is terrifying. Your voice sounds unfamiliar. Your heart races, but then something happens. The world does not fall apart. The relationship doesn't collapse. The fear proves louder than reality. Each no that follows reclaims a fragment of the self. It is an act of alignment, not defiance. By setting boundaries, You create healthier relationships, built on mutual respect rather than your silence. You start to attract people who appreciate your limits, not those who benefit from their absence. Saying no doesn't push the right people away. It filters for those who truly value you. It liberates you from the internal pressure to be endlessly available and allows you to finally exist without obligation. The deepest transformation is the return to your inner self, recovering the voice and preferences you had before the world taught you that you had to be easy to be loved. When you stop shrinking to fit into spaces that don't consider you, the world doesn't collapse, it expands. If this exploration of silence, empathy, and the courage to set boundaries resonated with you, consider subscribing. We delve into the hidden architectures of our minds, why we think, feel, and behave the ways we do to foster clarity, resilience, and a deeper connection to yourself. Your journey back to your own voice is important. Let's continue it together.